I guess I went for 2 games in a row where I start with the 4th entry in the series without having played any of the previous entries. Here with Disaster Report 4 Summer Memories, it's a bit more justifiable. The Disaster Report series has had sort of a rocky release in the West, given that Disaster Report is called SOS Final Escape in Europe and that the second game is called Raw Danger in the West, and Disaster Report 3 was a PSP exclusive that never came to the West. So this is actually the first Disaster Report game that has a coherent worldwide release. And how is it? I'm sure you're asking. Well, it's unique to say the least. The game takes place during a natural disaster in a big Japan city, in this case an earthquake, and your objective is, well, you make your own objective, sort of. The game will ask you several questions during the game that will help build your character and his personality. The problem with this is, the change is marginal at best. The game will still go through the same levels no matter what you choose and arrive at the same ending destination. So, me making that my character was an outsider and was only visiting didn't make much of a difference for the overall game. There is also a karma system, which I was never on the negative side of, even when I took 30 million yen from a safe. It's just too easy to be nice in this game. Rarely was I posed with a difficult choice of helping someone. And this is what the game will mostly resolve around. And well, as you move from area to area, where you do these pseudo puzzles, they're very simple actions, like go and get certain item and find a way to obtain that said item, or reach a certain person, and honestly, the difficulty will come from the lack of information by part of the game. By this I mean sometimes you will just be walking around looking for something without really knowing where to go, hoping a cutscene triggers. This type of progression could work with a better level design that would guide you, but here the level design lets you wander off too easily. While it is a very linear game, areas by themselves are open and it's easy to miss these triggered cutscenes and just wander around the map without knowing what to do. Another thing making this problem worse is the controls, more so the animations. Well, walking around is fine. Animations though take too long. For example, opening a door can take almost 10 seconds of animation, and for a one-time thing that doesn't sound that bad, but this is something you will be doing all the time, especially when you get lost and don't know where to go. And even if all of this wasn't a problem, the mission structure is still so boring. So often will it just resort to being fetch quests. There is also a survival system, but it's very useless. I only had to eat and drink maybe 3 times in the whole game. And this is an 8-hour game. I literally bought all the food I needed in the second area of the game and didn't even finish it all. You will also need to use the bathroom, but you literally can only use bathrooms, which, let's be honest, that's a very unrealistic thing to do in this situation. There is also a money system. While there is very little use for it, like I said, I bought all the food I needed in the second area, it's still very funny. The way that you can get yourself in situations of making ridiculous amount of money for no good reason, which leads me to talk about the one saving grace that is the story. And not because it's good, but because it's ridiculous. This game is soap opera levels of ridiculous. It is legitimately what would happen if a soap opera took place during an earthquake. Here's an example of one of the larger encounters you'll have to deal with in the game. The daughter and the son of a rival restaurant owning families are in love with each other against their family's will. Another one that I hinted at earlier about stealing 30 million yen, or what is roughly $285,000 from a safe of this weird cult. Like, I can't make this up. And I think this is where all that is bad about this game becomes good. It turns itself around. It goes to such a level of ridiculousness where it becomes so bad that it's good. And that's the only way I can recommend this specific game, because most of it's really dumb and the mechanics are very half-baked. But because of its ridiculous story, it becomes enjoyable. Without spoiling, I swear the ending comes so far out of left field that you'd think you're playing a different game. Also, there is an epilogue that lets you see the city being restored and what happened to the people you helped. And honestly, it's too long. This is kind of a weird thing to say, but I swear it's almost 4 hours long. It comes included with the PC version and it's free DLC on consoles, and man, is it not worth playing through. Unless you felt some sort of connection to these characters, which while I found them funny, I didn't really care much what happened to them. So not really for me. The length here is the real killer. It's too much, which might be good for some people, but I wouldn't recommend. So at the end of the day, do I recommend this game? And overall, yes, actually, but only under very specific conditions. One is, as usual, buying it cheap. While it's an 8-hour experience with even more if you plan on playing the epilogue DLC, it's still not really $60 product. So definitely would wait for a big cut in price. The other condition is being aware that this might be, for you, one of those so bad that it's good type of games. I know there's some people out there that unironically like these games, and you do you. I really hope I'm not offending you, but this is how I feel about the story of this game, and I'm still recommending people play it, if only for different reasons. So I hope you don't get offended. And we can all play the game for our own different little reasons. And that is it for another review. I'm glad I found something else I can point out to as so bad that it's good type of games. A lot more rare than their movie counterparts, mostly because most games who are so bad that could be good, the gameplay is just unplayable. And that kind of stops them from being, in that category. Movies don't really suffer from that. But that's not the case here. The gameplay here is fine, so, it can be enjoyable as a bad game. We need more games in this genre. Like Deadly Premonition 1. I still haven't beaten 2. It's kind of in a drag. That game runs at like 20 FPS all the time. It's kind of painful. Regardless, that's nothing to do with this video. Please subscribe and like and comment and do other things, please. Thank you. That would have been very appreciated. Bye.